Hey guys, so far we finished all the XPath content. Now we comes to CSS selector. So CSS is another way to locate elements and use it with the Selenium, okay? So and it's very important. Like I said, some company they prefer to use XPath, some company they will let you use CSS. And then CSS stands for Cascading Styling Sheet. They originally developed for style the web page. Remember I introduced the different component of the web application. HTML stands for what? Structure, and CSS is the styling, and JavaScript is functions, right? So CSS selectors are used to select the content you want to style. So what this means is it's same as XPath to locate certain nodes or certain contents, or we can call it element, and then use CSS to style it. So CSS selector is very important, right, for develop a web page. For example, I can show you a very simple one. I create the simple web page. Right now it has nothing. When you open a browser, see it has nothing. It just have a graphic and table and just username, password, bunch of fields, right? It has no colors, anything like that. So how CSS works is CSS, you can use CSS selector to locate this element and then give it specific colors or style. For example, look. So first of all, you have to link. You have to use link to link to certain file. So what it's saying is, I have a site.css file that contain all the CSS styling, right? And then this rel represent what? Style sheet, and the type represent text or CSS. So this is where you can link another file, which is CSS file, to HTML file, and then using that CSS file, just put all the styling like colors and everything in the CSS file. For example, it's like you just need to call a link, style sheet, see, href, this represents where's the file at. Right now my site.css is under the same folder of my HTML file, so I don't have to specifically give the path to it, right? So I just need to give the name site.css. Now this CSS file, this right here, and this HTML link together, but I'm gonna put all the styling here. So in order to style your web page, I have to know, for example, if I want to make this input, this text box right here, make it different colors, but first of all, I have to know how to locate it in HTML, right? So CSS selector just comes out, and then you have your CSS selector to locate this node right here, and then give the whatever color or style you want. For example, if I want to, let's say I just want to make the whole body right here a blue colors. What I do, right now I connected my site.css file with HTML, right, with this link. It sits inside the headers. Inside HTML, right? So at the top. So I come to site.css. So what I do, I pretty much just do body tag and then background color. I make it blue, right? Now look, I save it. Now I come to my page. Look, when I refresh it, see? Okay, so yeah, that's why we have to. CSS is very important. So CSS can be another way to locate element and use it with Selenium, right? Yes.
So what if you want to do a color that like something blue is mixture of blue, red?
Oh, there's so many ways. Look, when you go online, you use CSS color picker. So did you see? There's different way to represent colors in CSS. For example, and normally most of the colors are a combination of three, right? I forgot the red, green, blue, right? So this each right here represent 42 represent one color, 86 represent, and the F4 represent one color. That means it's mixture. So there's a lot of developers, they didn't know the numbers, okay, in this case. Or you can use red, green, blue style too. For example, if I use this, come to my CSS, come to here, I just do it back, instead of blue, right, I pass this. Now, look, my color should change. Do you see? So if I want the color that I want, let's say this color, I copy paste this. If I don't know the name for it, okay, look at this color now, it's mixture, right? It's mixture. I just need to copy this. Red, green, this different kind of way to, there's different way to represent color in the CSS, okay? This is one way, it's called, I forgot the name, but It was a long time back when I was learning this web development. I learned that by that time. So if I change, see, different colors. So clean this. And the picker, if I want more, something like this. If you go all the way right, it will be all like reddish, and then you can pick. Did you see? You can pick different colors from here. Because now what I'm doing is, do you see the numbers changing? Because first is represent red, blue. I mean red, green, and blue, right? For example, even here, for example, I want red to be 50. And then if I do 0 on green and 0 on other one, which is blue, look now. No, it will not. It will just be red. Okay, it will just, because I didn't give any color combination of green or blue, right? But look, if I comes to my CSS now, if I do maybe 50, I take up to this one 150, and then I give another total will be 250. Okay, if I do another 50 on blue, now it should give me different colors, but red still be stronger, right? See, but the red is still the strongest because dominant. But if I make this one 150 and then this 150, now the green will be more dominant, right? Right here. You see? So there, I mean, but a lot of developers, they don't even know the exact number. It's very hard to memorize. So they just go online like this, date picker, and they automatically give you CSS color pickers. You just pick. Or most of the time when you develop application, everything will be given to you by the business analyst or anyone, because customer will tell you what color they want, right? So you will get it from them. Yeah, pretty much. It will include in the user stories. So you just have to develop based on that, right? That's one way. And then there's so many ways too. If I don't want to do only body, let's say in this case, I want to do, let me do some lighter color, okay? Something like this. Okay. Let me make background as this, right? Now, well, don't worry about it. Now background is a little lighter, so, but I want to specifically, just as input, make a different color. How do I do that? I have to give CSS selector the path to it, right? So I comes here, first, which that input is right here, or I can just go here, do F12. I'm just gonna write some CSS, okay? Don't worry about it, okay? So I want to make this color specifically, make it has a user, looks dynamic, but I'm gonna use it first. So what I do is input. I'm gonna do suffix, okay? All right, that means starting with. So this is CSS. Did you see I didn't use at? In XPath you do double slash, right? But CSS is a little different. I'll show you all the syntax very soon. Oh, you see? And normally in XPath you have to use double slash or single slash, and also you have to start with at, right? Without attribute, but CSS is a little different, and it's a lot different. Just wait. I'll show you guys all the syntax very soon. So I comes to now I got the CSS selector passed to this specific element. So I comes to my site. I do another one like this. I do color maybe red. So let's see if it's gonna change. Oh, it didn't change. I think ID for the font. Hold on, let me see. Color. It's not working. No, I had to disable this. I think this one here. And then Man, I already forgot a lot of stuff here. Let me just do background color. Man, it's not locating. Input body.
Maybe you have to type in the whole like.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
IDs.
Still not working. Let me do body div or no ID. Maybe I should ID.
Copy the whole thing.
Yeah, hold on, but I was getting it. Okay, now it's working. Okay, I used a different pass. Hold on. Background color equal to.
There's the ID.
No, you don't have to, not necessarily, but somehow I just want it should recognize. Give me 1 second. See, now I'm just choosing the ID in this case. It should work. Hold on.
Can you also change the font color of the password? Yeah. Oh no, that's because it's something. That's like a placeholder. That's not impressive.
Should work. Let me try this one. Input ID. Yeah, now it works. See, let me close this. Somehow, why it's not working, right? Open in browser. Now it's worked, right? I use this on CSS. I use the CSS locator. Okay, I'm gonna show you this in that video. So I'm showing you guys why CSS are there, why CSS locator are there, right? So CSS locator can help web developers to locate certain contacts and then styling them. Okay, before you do any styling like this, you have to make sure you know the path, you know how to locate them, right? So CSS locator will be big help. All right, but in automation, Selenium automation, we're gonna use CSS selector to locate element and to do certain action to them. We're not gonna modify, we're not gonna styling them, but what we do is we will test them, right? What we do, we will maybe do some action, click, select, drop down, those kind of action on them, okay?
So you still need to use the filter interface to the CSS tag, the one with
Yeah.
You have to do it like that.
Like this?
No, like the input.
Input?
Like that.
And add, you mean add?
When you type it, yeah, like those.
No. You have to use CSS selector.
Is that exponent symbol thing next to the ID? What is that called?
This one right here?
Arrow.
This one?
That one. Is that what dictates it being CSS?
No. It's just the one with the symbol. What it means is saying I want something, I want ID, I want to input some element starts input tag, but it starts ID's value start with user. Start with it's the suffix. I mean prefix.
We'll take that off and use the whole ID.
Yeah.
But if you're going to take it out and put username, title.
Sure. Still gonna work. There you go. See? So I'll show you the syntax now. Let's just close everything. Okay, that's why CSS selector is really important. You can use CSS selector after you locate the element like this or like this. There's so many ways to modify it. We can add margin. You see, we can add spaces between each element, style them, push them to a certain position, make it on the right corner. This everything will be done by the CSS.
Like when you use Java to look up stuff, use XPath and by.xpath.
Yes, the by.css. So yeah, there's something called by.css, and then you just need to pass this, copy paste this pass, and put it in there.
Same way as
XPath. Same way as ID. This is part of locators, right? Part of Selenium locators. Selenium locators, most popular ones: XPath, CSS, ID, class name, and name, and link tags, partial link tags, right? It's just part of them. So let me just right. So I create this simple one. I had more stuff in there, so I can use this to show you guys why there's still. Huh? Right? So I make it a little more complicated, add more fields in there, so I can use this to make a demo for you guys while I'm teaching, right? So this comes to that PowerPoint right here. And then CSS Selector select HTML elements according to its ID, class, and attribute, etc. By using CSS, we can apply style to web page. CSS Selector is combination of an element attribute and attribute value, which identifies the web element within the web page. The composite of an element attribute and attribute value is known as selector pattern, right? So CSS Selector type, same as XPath, it has 3 types: absolute CSS Selector, and relative CSS Selector, and exact CSS Selector. So you guys, it's pretty much concept is exactly same as XPath. Absolute is you had to start from the root until the element itself. That means you have to start from HTML, right? But the pattern will be different. Now you're going to learn the pattern. Relative is you had to start whatever the element that you want and go from there, right? It will be. And then exact CSS is you have to start exactly the element you want to locate, right? So now absolute CSS Selector, it's a direct way to finding the element. Absolute CSS Selector starts with the root context node. For example, in HTML, it should start from HTML, right? As HTML is the starting tag of any web application. Writing absolute CSS Selector is very easy. Apart from the advantage, there are a few disadvantages also. It's same as XPath. You cannot recollect or remember for which element you have written the CSS Selector. It will be really long, right? You had to go all the way deep, so right? Exact or relatives, right? So, and then this CSS Selector may break once an extra element is added in between or element is removed in between, right? That means more layers added, then it will just break over there, right? Yeah, same as XPath. So, for example, it's something like this. Instead of slash, you have to represent, you have to use this greater. That means go, right? Okay. And then, for example, let's just write 1 in here. Let me open that page. Right, F12. Let me write 1 because, for example, I want to locate, let's say, this Harry right here. It's in TD, there's a table, right? So it's TD, then I have to start from HTML, right? So HTML, and then body, right? See how it comes to body? And then I go to div. If I do div, it should locate multiples, right? See? So much, right? And then from div, I go to table, see? Right? Or I can do table ID, or I just do table. Equal to, yes, customers, right? I'll show you the way, there's a way you can do it. Okay, so T-body, I'm showing the absolute, right? T-body, and then TR. There's 4 TRs, so which TR is that in? Harry. TR, and then another TD. Now I want to locate TD, so I had to do what? Harry, text. I hope this will work. Oh, it didn't work. So TD, I had to do 1. Man, I had to. I want. Child. God. It's right here. Child. So one is Austin. So TR, which TR is it? First one, second one, third one, right? TR. So I'm here, and then TD, and the child of. So Harry is 1, right? There you go. See how long it is? Did you see? Don't worry about the syntax. I'll teach you later. So from HTML all the way down, right? So just imagine later if there's one more containers that added on top of this table, right? Look, if I add one more container and then just add this stuff in there, right? If I put in here, see? Now, when it comes to here, let me refresh it. Now there's one more, see, there's one more div added outside. So this will not work. It will break. Did you see it's not recognizing? In that case, I had to do, before table, I have to do another div. That means I have to update my CSS, add one more div. So it's very hard, right? And then in actual world, the application will keep changing, right?
CSS add?
How long it can be?
Yeah.
Is there a character limit?
No, it can be forever from HTML until
I mean,
all the way in until there's no more element left, right? That's how long it can be.
For example, what I'm going to say is, in this case, because it's a small web page, you can easily fix it. But might come across.
That's the reason you're never gonna write this absolute XPath or CSS in actual company. Yeah, it's not right.
But there's
Just
still one.
teaching you this so you understand the basics for the relative and exact, which is what we use all the time.
Yes, and then this will be in the interview. That's the reason I'm teaching you this. Yes.
So there's still, even though you're not going to use it, they still will take the knowledge.
Yeah.
They will ask you. No, in interview they will ask you this. You're not gonna use this in the company, but in interview they ask because they want you to know that you're not gonna use this in the company. Okay, that's the reason that they will ask you that question. Let me take out that div. Now, see now this. Now I take out another one. This should, when I refresh it, it will break now again. So I take out another div. Just now work, right? So was all the way up. And then relative XPath. Hold on. Now exact CSS selector is very good. Okay, if you can write exact selector CSS selector for an element, just use that. It will be very short, right? For example, in this case, if I want to do something to this one, it has ID, right? I can just use this. But remember, if it ends with numbers, the numbers at the end might be dynamic. When you refresh the page, there's 1, 2, 3 might be 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6 next time, right? So in that case, there's a way to write it. I'm just going to use that right now, but I'll show you the syntax later, okay? So what I do is input. I'm going to write exact XPath for this one, right? ID, prefix, user name. Right now, see, it was able to locate it. Even though you add more layers in there, it will not gonna be effect. Yes.
So, if I'm confused whether it's standing or not, I can also push 4 or 5 times. Is that changing? I'm okay.
I'll give you this suggestion. If it ends with number like this, at the end, don't use this number. Use the whatever stuff that before that. Yeah. Don't use this.
Mm-hmm.
And then if something starts with number 2, don't use the front number part. Maybe use the back number, because you can find that when you refresh something, refresh the page multiple times, you will see the number changing, and the back, like the part at the end, not changing. Then just use the not changing part.
And you get 2 lines of code with the same name. I can always do input include ID username and include where name is username too.
Yeah, you can do.
And our
Yes.
I guess other.
For example, in CSS, just do another one, name equal to username. See? Right? That means you're using multiple attributes, right? So, and then finding element with their own attribute, chance of failing is very less, and we'll find by taking an element's attribute like ID, value, class name, placeholder, or name, etc. Right? This is an example. See, now this guy is using 2, right? He used. Oh, no, this is wrong. And takes one out like this, right? Placeholder, you're using placeholder and whatever ID, right? And then relative CSS selector is you start from certain node. For example, how you do is, let's say this should have a div. Yeah, see, I want to locate this input right here, right? And then I can start from div, the parent. Do you see? I'm gonna start from this div because this div has what? Has an ID. This doesn't look like dynamic ID for me. So what I do is I start from div and then ID equal to, I'm just gonna use the ID. I located the parent and then from the parent I go inside the child. I want to locate that input with ID label 1 or hold on, with name input box 1, right? See, that this is relative, right? It's very short. You're not starting from the root. You're starting from certain element that has a unique ID or the ID that will not change, right? You start from there and go into the child. Okay? So yeah, and the chance for relative it's same as exact CSS selector. The chance of failing is very less, okay? And then it's kind of time consuming, right? But once you write it, it will sit there forever and it will not change. It will not going to be affected, even though there's changes happen in the UI, right? Right here, this is the examples, right? And then finding element by ID, okay? In CSS, the ID, if there's, for example, if there's element here, for example, this one, it has an ID. Let me try this one. Password. See, it has an ID password, right? This looks really unique. If you see an element that has a unique ID and it will not change, instead of writing the long code like input ID equal to password, what you can do is directly just represent the ID by and then password. Just this represent ID, okay? What you're saying is, I'm writing CSS, and I'm locating an element with its ID, and the ID's value is password. That's what you're saying right now. Okay, so ID can be represented by hashtag and its value. Okay, this will just go through UI. It will find the element that has ID of password. Okay, right here. Syntax is here, and then for example like this, right? And the finding element by class. The class can be represented by a dot, okay? Syntax is this. For example, let me modify this a little bit. I want this input right here, the password input for this one. See, this one has dynamic ID in this case. I'm going to add a class and put it as username, right? I'm going to go to my page. I refresh it. Now, see, it has a, I think this is, did I refresh it? Right here, right? In this case, this one's locating the what username, right? So it has a class. Well, I look at the ID. Looks like the ID, the last 3 digits will be dynamically changing every time I refresh the page. So I'm gonna look at class. Okay, there's a class that I can use. So there's a username. It looks pretty static or pretty unique. So what I do, I just do dot. See, username. You see, it was able to locate this one. Right? You see, I was able to locate. So class can be represented in CSS. Class can be represented by dot. ID can be represented by hashtag. You just need to do it. If you want to locate element with the static ID, you do just hashtag, give the ID value. If it's static class, then you just do dot and with the class value, right? Or class name. And then find element by multiple classes. For example, remember we saw some element that has, for example, class name saying like username input text 1, right? Something like this. It has two class names. There's a space between them, right? You can also locate this kind of element. For example, let me refresh the page. Right? Look. If I do dot username, and I also, if it didn't locate anything right now, but I do another dot input text 1. Okay. Oh, I think username is lowercase. Now see, if you find a class, oh, it's only for class, okay, not for ID. Yeah, dot for class, right? So you can, if you find out there's a class has two class name and you don't know how to locate that, right? So what do you do? Start from the first one. Do first username, right? In this case, and then you find it, and then you had to do another dot input text 1, the second one. Does it make sense? Because just imagine if you only use, in this case, if you only use username, maybe there's another element that has a class name that starts from username, right? So maybe the second class name is the one to help you to identify this element.
So this is the second dot stands for space?
No, it starts from second class name. That means it's class name. No, it doesn't stand for
First class name, second.
Yeah, first class name, second class name. First class name, second class name. Okay. If this one has three class name, for example, let me add one more class name here. If I do text field, right now it has three class name. Let me refresh it. See, it become three class name, right? Now I do another dot text field 1. Text field, right?
So it has three different class names?
Yes.
Oh, I heard it's just class name.
No, this means it's three different class name right here.
Oh, I heard it's just a one class name with created by two different names.
No,
It's
no.
three class names. Oh, no, it's the second.
Now this, because when you look space between them, that means this class has three names. First one username, input text 1, text field. Because sometimes there's so many elements that developer already named with certain name and they can't really use it, so they just give multiple name so they can identify and then style it in CSS. Just imagine, because if there's multiple fields with the same class name username, if they just use that CSS selector, that means the style, whatever the styling, the color, it will affect both fields. In this case, so they can just use three of them to identify each field uniquely and they give a styling, right? And then find element by class and attribute. So it will be a combination of class and attribute of an element node, right? So syntax is something like that. That means it can start from class name, right? And then its attribute equals some value. For example, let's go to website. In this case, let's say password. See, the password has placeholder or name password and ID password, right? That I think I was saying class, right? I mean this one. See, this one has class name, three name, and then also I want to add another attribute placeholder at the end. So this one's locating that. Also, I want to make it more solid by adding another attribute, right? I do placeholder equal to username. See?
Yeah. Cool.
Cool?
Cool.
CSS is also case sensitive.
Yes, but there's a way in CSS you can make it not case sensitive. I'll show you that at the end. But I don't prefer you guys to use that. Right? And the finding child element. Right? It's finding child element is very simple, right? It's just first you have to locate the parent. In this case, let's try for this one, right? Because this div has an ID. So if I want to locate this input which sits inside this div, which is here, right? So what I do is, that mean this input is child of this div, right? Div is a parent. So I want to locate its parent input. So I will start from its parents, saying div or ID. Hold on, is it? It has ID, right? So I do hashtag allocated the div, and then I use this go inside. So that means I'm locating this child, right? Input. See, now because there's two input field, that's why I'm locating two. But I can make it more specific by using its name, right? Name attribute. So input box 1. See, now you're locating a child of certain element, right? We're locating input child of what? The div element in this case. Does everyone understand? Everyone's good?
Yes.
Just stop me when you guys. Okay. So finding descendants. Okay, finding descendants. You guys remember what's descendants? Is child, grandchild, all the way down, right? Look, how to find descendants is, for example, okay, we can use this table because the table. Remember, table was represented by table tag, and then table body represented by body tag, and in the body tag you have a bunch of TR and then TH and TD, right? TR represent table row, TD represent table data, and then TH represent table headers, right? So first I'll locate that table. Well, it has what? ID, right? Customers. So I just use shortcut customers. See, and then what I do, space. If I do TR, see, I'm directly locating its descendants. I just need to use the space. Now, if you do this, that means you're looking for child. This, you're looking for, in this case, if you do this, then you have to look for T body first, right? And then TR, descendants. I mean, look for descendants, child, grandchild, or something like that.
Okay.
Same as XPath, right? When you use descendants word in XPath, it will just look for, directly jump to whatever child or whatever the existing one. Space in CSS Selector. So in this case, I do TR, right? Or if I do TD, see, it was located with 9 TD because there's 9, right? Right? But the reason I'm teaching you both because different company has different preference. They might ask you in an interview, but most of the company, they prefer XPath. But that's the reason, because I don't want you to guys struggle in the company, right? So, descendants, and then nth child end method. Like, what you're doing here is, for example, I show you. You look for certain, it's like index of certain child. There's, for example, we can use, I create the web element, which is this div right here. When you look at this div, that means this line right here, right? All the elements that sits inside this div. This div is the parent of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. It has label, input, and button, right? Right. So first, I will locate that parent. This and the copy paste ID. See, right? And then what I do is child, and then if I put 1, oh, it should be label. Now, see, first, what I'm saying here is this is a parent. I'm looking for a child that has tag name label. I want the first label. But if I do 2, it will not find it. Because when you do 2, because 2 doesn't, the 2 is second is input, right? It doesn't have label tag here. So if you do 3, it will find it. See? If I do 4, it will not find it. There's another method here. You can use, I guess, substitute here. What it does, it's more dynamic one. So nth type. So it's this one, nth of type. Type. See, if you do 1, it will find it. Remember, in the nth child, it couldn't find it. When you do 2, it will find it now, more dynamically. So the difference between these two is this is not dynamic as this one, right? This will look for the type. So this nth right here, nth of type, what it does is first of all it will look for all the label inside this div, and then they put them together, group them together, and give them index. Okay, but and then if you do just go from there, right? But this right here is nth child. What it does, first of all, it will group everything together. No matter, even though you specifically saying label, it's still gonna group everything together, give them index, right? That's why if you do 1, it will show. If you do 2, it will actually look for this, right? But this one doesn't have label, so it doesn't match. So it just will not gonna pop up. We're not gonna give it to you. So unless you do 3, right? There's no difference between nth child and nth of type. That means it's more dynamic, right? But this is very useful when you try to work with tables, right? In this case, look, these tables. Customers try to TD. If I do TD, and then from here, if I do nth child 1, 2, 3, right? Do you see? It's very useful here. Yep, but it's only looking for the first one here. Hold on, TR Austin first. I was looking for first one. Oh, because I'm looking for descendants here. TD. From here, you should look for. Yeah, when you do 1, what it does. Oh. Customers TD child. I'll try to show you something here. Okay, hold on. See, so it's looking for the first one, right? Child inside. First, look, if I take this one out, it look for 9, right? Because there's 9 TD here. If I put this one, it will look for the first on each TR, right? If I do 2, it will look for the second one in each TR, see? You see? If I do 3, yes. So this nth child is very, very useful when you're actually working with certain children has the same tag name. For example, in tables or in the list, right? Right? Because this table has a bunch of TD or a bunch of TR. Does it make sense? If I do, instead of nth child, instead of TD, I do TR. And then I can just, there's 4 TR in here, right? So if I do, see, if I do 1, it will find the first one. If I do 2, second one, third one. Why it just keep changing? Mother. Anyway, it's like that. So you use this, make sure you use this when you're actually working with table. That means it has a bunch of children with the same tag name, or list has a bunch of same tag name, right? As the children. So you can use this type. It's more useful when you use type with if a parent has different tag combinations, like label, you put a bunch of inside the same container, right? Locate the parent and then go from there, right? Right? Okay, and then finding the first child. So first child right here, just use this one. First, find the parent. In this case, that's useful. The same thing, the table, customers, right? And if I do TR first child, it will find the first TR for me. You see? Right? Well, if I want to do TD, I want to find the first TD, which is Austin, right? Yep. First child, it will find Austin for me. See? Austin. Right? It's very useful. Or there's another one opposite to it. It's called lost child. Last child, we find the last one.
Can you still do the last child minus 1?
No. The last child and the first child. So we'll look for. I think we can do this. No, okay. So we'll look for the first one at each. Actually, it look for Austin, Harry, and Tim. Austin, Harry, and Tim. If I do last child, it will look for the last one in each TR. Last child. So student, student, and student, right? And then, but if I want to locate each element uniquely, what I can do, the first, well, I start from TR and then make it right. First child, I want to find the first one, the name. If I want to find the name, what I can do is first child and then go from there, right? And then do th, to find 3. From th, I do what? First child again, right? Now see I found name. Right? But if I want to do Austin, what I can do is TR, because Austin in the second row, I start from nth child to, right? I found whatever the table row that Austin exists. From there, I do, yes, TD, right? First child. TR. TD, there we go. First child, right? See? Tim, are you okay, man?
Yeah. Trying to.
Do 5 push-ups. Do it. Come on.
Oh, man.
Are you gonna do push-up? Yeah.
Oh.
Just don't break my floor.
Just drop to the floor.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, don't do push-up when you watch this, alright?
What?
It's recorded.
Drop and give me 50.
Oh, man.
Alright, cool. Let's continue. Right, that's first child, that's last child we learned, right? And the finding element by prefix. So prefix can be represented by this, mean you trying to look for something that starts with some attribute value, right? For, what I mean is, for example, look, when I try to locate this element by its ID, but this ID ends with number, most of the time this number will change. But the first, right, the username will remain the same most of the cases. So how you find out is you refresh the page multiple times, right? You can find out. So in this case, this number is useless, right? I can't use this number, so I can't use prefix. Just use the username, for example. Hashtag, right? And then no, in that case you cannot use the hashtag, right? So you had to start from input, right? ID prefix equal to what? Username, right? See, if I do user, I already found it. If I do u, I already found it. That means it starts with, right? Username. Prefix. Okay? That's prefix. And then, next one is finding element by suffix. That means ends with. Some cases, for example, I'll modify a little bit. Let me put this 1, 2, 3 at the front. Right? That means this ID start with 1, 2, 3. See? Right? That means this is dynamic. This number will change all the time when you refresh the page. So I can't it looks like the username will remain the same. So I can just use the last part to locate this element. You do what? Suffix. Syntax. Right here. Syntax $. Okay? So comes here. $. See, I already found it. Username. Okay? And then another one is partial attribute value. That means asterisk. When you use asterisk, that means you can use certain part. Right?
You could just put like
name.
right or BER or user.
Something like that, right? In this case, if I use asterisk, that means I just want to use certain part of this ID to locate. It's only located because username is part of it, right? If I do this user was there, it's still gonna locate it. If I do name, second located. You see, if I do N, second located. If I do R, N, second located. Right? And then finding immediate siblings, plus sign. It's interesting, right? So what's immediate siblings is, for example, look at this one. This div, it has a label, right? In actual world, a lot of, for example, each ID normally have label on it, right? Saying username and you enter. For example, maybe Facebook, run Facebook page. It might have it in Facebook. Let's check. So Facebook doesn't have it. Oh, but yeah, see, email or phone. That means this is a label of this, right? Password. That means labels of this. So same as this one. See, I put label before input. So it's in my web page, it showed like this. Label 1, or I can make it more like label. Instead label 1, I can do username, right? This one, password, right? Fresh it. See, username and password. That means these are labeled for this, right? In some cases, this label right here, or this text box, let's say this text box is not as dynamic. It doesn't have any attribute that's useful. So let me change this one. Text name. Let me take this one name. Let's say if the name is start from 1, 2, 3, right? This have 2, 3, 4. That means these are dynamic, right? You cannot use these numbers, right? So it has nothing to locate. You can't just type because a lot of stuff has type of text, right? A lot of elements. So in this case, there's nothing you can locate this one, but you can locate this from this because this ID looks dynamic for me. Label. Let me just change the username, right? Label. Password, right? Right. What you can do, you can use the plus sign. That means you'll find them direct siblings. So in that case, you will start from. Good. Right? See, I can start from this label. It has ID. So what I do is, right, found it, and then you do plus input. See, finding the direct sibling. What is direct sibling? Is it right next to it? What? Bottom? Oh, button? Like, no, because direct input is the right bottom of it. You can't just go from here to here.
Oh,
it will not be direct. It's sibling, but it will not be direct sibling, right?
okay.
In that case.
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning about this. So with the plus sign, you have to.
You just have to mention.
You have to use the right sign.
Mm-hmm. And then right, like sibling, and then finding following sibling. You can use this to find the bottom, right? For example, this tag right here. That means instead of plus sign, if you do, I don't know how this called, but remember it. See, now if I do button, see, now I was able to locate button. Okay. Right. If I want to locate another label, I can do label, right? Sign and find element by ignoring case sensitivity, right? You just need to add I, right? And on anything, for example. Yes, for example, input ID equal to look, label username. I really messed it up, right? In this case, see, I was trying to locate this label right here. No, I should put label. Right? I'm gonna locate the label, but it will not work at first. But look, if I put I, oh shit, hold on. Label ID equal to label username, right?
I don't understand why. The next to the ampersand, like
This one?
yeah, look the same. One is less than two.
What? Hold on, username.
There was this like
This and then I.
Oh no.
it wasn't in the.
Oh no, man. No, it's just I.
Sorry.
Oh, something is wrong here. Mm-hmm. No, it's working. Oh, second part doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, now it's working. See, it's working, right? So you can't ignore cases by this. Just putting the I at the end. I think I will spell it wrong. So, or let's try with this button. Button T equal to. Now it works, right? Let's change this one T. Right now, if I put I, see, it's still working.
Is the word is the hashtag?
Hashtag no.
So it has to be used.
Yeah, it has been in this format. So yeah, but I don't prefer you guys to use this one. It's not a good practice. Don't use it, okay? In the company. And then next one. Oh, that's all actually. We did it pretty fast. Amazing. Yeah, but after that, I think you guys a lot of people are struggling about the tag names, right? So yeah, there's important stuff that you have to know. For example, HTML tag name. When you locate something, for example, me, if I go to any website, look. If I go to any website here saying, let's say Facebook, I know which tag name that each element is using. For example, I know this is input, I know this is input, I know this is input, and I know this is select, I know this is select, I know this, each of them are options, I know this is either input, sign up, yeah, it can be headers, yep, and I know this is input, I know this is label. If you don't believe me, right here. Label, you see, label, input, header, H2, and any of them are input, and then select, you see, and then each option in there is options. Because you have to remember this, if you know these HTML tags really good, then it's very easy for you to just locate elements, right? So I mean, a common HTML tags. Let me add this one here, right? First one is a tag. If anything starts from A, it represents link, right? That means when you click that element, it will direct you to the different place. For example, in this case, there's nothing linked here. Maybe forget account is a link. Yeah, see, the forget account is a link. Why? Because when you click this, it will direct you to this website. Like if I do open a new tab, right? Okay, it brought me here, right? If I click this one, same way, it will brought me into the same place. Do you see?
Yes.
Same place, right? Same place. Find your account. Yeah, it's a little different, but anyway, find your account. So if you see anything with A, and then what you can do in CSS, and actually in Selenium, there's a selector called link tags, right? You can use link tags, and then when you pass the link tags, you just need to pass the forget email, that tags right there, right? For example, open the Facebook again. That means you just need to pass the forget account. Like, we're gonna see this more when we actually do automation, okay? See, you just need to pass this right here, the text right here. Forget account, link text. The A is that, and then input tag represent. It can represent button, can represent text field, can represent radio button. What is radio button is these right here. These are radio buttons. Say input. Do you see type radio?
Okay.
And then when you actually look at this text field, type text. You see? Type text, right? And then I don't see any button here. Maybe the sign up is input too. No, they use button. For example, let's try something here. Let me add one more input here. See, input, it has type button, and then name, right? Let me refresh it. See, see, it had a button here, right? It can be checkbox, for example.
That's not going to checkbox.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's a button. Checkbox can be represented. Sorry, checkbox can be. No, box. No, hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me find the checkbox. What you can do is just go to any website. Where's the checkbox? There you go. Iron Spider. No.
I know one.
See, these are checkbox right here.
No.
Do you see checkboxes, right? See, when you look at them, it's represented by input. Did you see input? Type is actually a checkbox. You see?
Okay.
So input here, so if you see anything with input, it might be, if you see button, it might be input. And if you see a text field, it might be input. If you see radio button, it's input. And if you see checkbox, it might be represented by input. Most of the cases. Button is very rare. A lot of time it will represent by button tag. Just like, right? Button. For example, in Facebook, right, the sign up. Did you see the sign up is represented by button, and the type is submit, right? Why they type is submit is, that means when you click it, it will submit whatever the information that you enter here, right? And also this login right here. See, this login represented by what? Input, actually. You see? This login is actually a button, right? Represented by input. And the value is login. Type is submit. Did you see? So, where's my button?
We can switch the places of ID type.
Hold on. Value. Yeah, you can. Value equal to what? Login. If I do this and look at my page. See, login, right? You can click this actually. Oh. No. No, because I didn't put type. Submit. Type, submit. Now look.
Oh.
Now, did you see it become login, right? Login. I can click it. So, when you actually look at it, so one thing I want you to do is when you inspect an element, go in there, check the tag name, input, and also check type, right? Like I said, most of the time the fields right here, checkbox will be input, and the type will be checkbox. Button can be input. For example, maybe this is input. Let's see, or it's button. See, it's input, but type is button, or it can be button or submit. Okay, and then also text field right here can be input. Type will be text field or text, right? Like that. And then also radio button. For example, this is a radio button, right? Can be input, and the type is radio. Okay, so that's button. And then another one I want to show you guys is div. Most of the time, this div is container. container, and then most of the elements will sit inside div, okay? Div is just a container that contains elements, so developer, they can easy to modify, group different elements together, modify them together, right? Or create the box model, okay? And that's div, and what else that we're saying? And then 5, HTML. HTML is what?
The
Root of the web page, right? And then body is root, let's say, child of HTML, parent of rest of the tags or rest of the elements, right?
What about label?
Yeah, forget label. And then label. See, a lot of label. Hold on. Then labels for elements, right? So when you look at pages like this, most of the field has labels. Do you see the email or password? So you will know what this field represents. Or they can also do a placeholder like this. First, let's look, right? Email or password. So it represents label for certain field in this case, right? Which one? This one? That can be header. See, it's header. So label, okay, and then that's one, and also header. H2. I think there's H7. There's several of them.
The size different?
Yeah. For example, look. Let me do headers here from H1, header 1. The first one should be bigger, the biggest.
Let's do a typo here, like the front you says H5, the end says H4, what will happen to the website?
Which one? This one? I mean, no, it will not. It has to add with. It will not gonna save anything. It will not open anything. No, it will be error. So I'm gonna close this. I have another Facebook account. There you go. You see, stuff from header 1 is go all the way down. Header 7.
What are you going to be the one that
Because the header 1 will be, for example.
This is sponsor, right?
Yeah. It will be no. Well, let me open Facebook. There will be different size because they have different use, right? First header will be more important. In this case, maybe this guy used.
sign up? Is it first?
No. Maybe that's what. Let me check. You just need to type. Right? See, there's no. They didn't use H1 here, or I'm sorry. Oh, they actually use H1. Let's see. So H1 is Facebook. This is the parent. See, it's more important, right? Because this represent page. If you do H2, that means which one? H2. I think they represent sign up, and above this text right here is. That's right. Oh, they use 3 H2. First one is they connect with friends and the world around you on Facebook. Another one, sign up. Another H2 is. So it's not. It's hidden. Pretty sure. Let me see.
What? Is hidden mean you can't affect it?
That means it will not show unless you do certain.
Prompts or commands. Okay. Almost time to do that.
Right. So, yep. If you do H3, there's nothing H3, H4, nothing H5, nothing H6, nothing, right? So they just use only 1 and 2. So, header, this H represent headers, remember that, and then So, and then what was the other one again we mentioned? Span. Span can. No. Span is not drop down menu. Normally, it's like it works like container, but just smaller container. If you span, for example, pretty sure there's a span. Yes, yeah, it's container for drop down. It can be container for certain elements, but span always sits inside. What sits inside a div? Normally, yes.
What about select?
Okay, I'll add that too. Okay. So see, select sits inside a span. Not this span sits inside another span, right? Right. Span can work like container as well. Okay. Span works as container.
Just help to organize the order.
Yeah, it help you organize. For example, if you do all the div, then maybe you do another box model inside the div, right? So span containers sits inside div, something like this, and then span select, right? Most of the drop down will represent by select, right? And then drop down menus, right? And then 11 is option. Present drop down list, right? Each option can be one item inside, right? And then sign up. We did the button or link text. Hey, this one is also link text here. What else? Oh, image. See, image. So image represent actually image. Okay, but when you actually look at the image, it has a path that where this image sits. You see, it sits inside this right here. And then the name of the image, it should be there, and then it should have, when you, for example, hold on, height, and the height, style, everything, they just put it here. Image. Source is here. When you say src in image, that means source. Sometimes you might validate the source of the image, or you might validate certain image pop up when you do something. In that case, you only need to validate what? The source is correct, right?
So the source that's on the picture.
Yeah. Source is a place that stores the pictures. All the picture comes from that source, okay? Yep. Right. Image and also another drop down. Hold on, different drop downs and you do this HTML select tag. Let's see. No, it's not the one. List. I forgot. On order list HTML. On order list represent by UL. Okay. Okay. It's like a list. It will be something like this, and on order list, it will represent by UL. Okay, and each item inside represent by li. Okay, remember? And then it will show something like this. And order list will be represented by OL. Hold on. Didn't show here. So OL, and then each item inside will represent li, and then it show differently. See, and on order list, it will show like this in the UI. But order list, it will show something like this with the numbers. Right? So for example, UL, LI, item, John, LI, pod, right? Something like this. And then let me do another OL, LI is coffee, whatever. Right? Now, if I open this in browser, you will see on order list, it will show like this. Order list will show with the numbers. That means order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Order list, it's still gonna be the same order you keep it.
Yeah. So let me add it, okay? UL represent on ordered list, right? Then OL represent ordered list. LI represent a list item inside UL and OL, right? And then menus. I want to show you guys menus because these are important. If you know these, it will be very easy for you to locate stuff and understand how to work with them. And also in the interview, they will ask you, what is order list, what are lists? They might gonna say like, how are you gonna automate select dropdown? How are you gonna automate the menu box or checkbox? Then if you don't know what's checkbox or radio box, then you don't know how to tell them answers, right? So, menu, let's see something. No. Okay, this is menu. Abstract. Forget the name. Menu. Bootstrap. Yeah, Bootstrap dropped that menu. Bootstrap. So it would be something like this. Some of them will hover over, some of them will look like this. You see? So when I actually do this, see? No, hold on. This is wrong. Let me just go to Amazon. So, Amazon uses a lot of Bootstrap dropdown right here. For example, when I was learning automation, I automate most of stuff in Selenium. See, like this. Oh, they changed it recently. Nice. It shows different on yours? There you go. Now, so it's hover over. Did you see when I hover over, it's already showing a Bootstrap dropdown. Okay, look, let's try to see how they represent these. It's a bunch of links. Oh, they use a link in here. Damn, they're good. Hover over screen. Mouse. Yeah, right there. This is the reason that it was working because of these. It's Bootstrap. Something like that. Master, sure. So,
Right? I was like, it's recognized.
anyway, just learn this. I'll teach you more tags later when we're actually doing automation. So there's 15. If you want to learn more, what you do is you go to HTML tags. Just do HTML tags on YouTube. I'm sorry, on the Google. You should have pretty cool HTML.com.tags right here. This is right here. See, and also video will represent by video tags, right? Table. I forgot the important stuff. Table, right? Table represent tables or table, right? And then what? T body represent table body, and then TR. What does TR represent? Exactly, right? Table rows, right? And what does TH represent? Exactly. Table headers, right? And what does TD represent? Table data, right? That's table, and then RT. There's so many tags here available that you can't learn. Don't learn all of them. Just learn whatever I told you to learn, because it will confuse you. Unless you want to be a developer, and even a lot of developers, they don't know. I promise you, they don't remember everything here. They just go online, check it, and yeah. That's why nowadays all the developers, we call them Google developers, because they do Google a lot. Oh yeah, and then another one is HTML tag, the I element. Okay, it's very important. Not necessarily. iframe. I forgot iframe. iframe. iframe is important. It's most of the time, for example, security data like credit card, those kind of stuff, like credit card information. So for those kind of pages, for all the place that you enter credit card numbers, data like credit card expiration, those kind of sensitive data, they will put it in the iframe tags, and then they will do kind of security on it. Okay. So, and the iframe it's not hard to automate, but a lot of people, they don't know, because when they just use regular method to automate whatever stuff that sits inside iframe, when you locate it in the website or using developer tool, you will locate the element, but when you try to use Selenium to do some action on those, it will not work. It will say could not find this element. It will throw some kind of exception. So you have to switch into the iframe and to do work. I'll teach you guys how to do that too. And it's one of the hot topic to work with. One of the hot question to ask in the face-to-face interview. I always ask them, what's iframe? Right, so the iframe creates inline frame which embeds. I'll just copy it. No, that's crazy. Damn, what? Then image tag, writing an image tag embedded HTML tag. We don't have to know that. Let's see what else. BR no. No, it's not too much.
I mean, it's a lot.
Hey, it's only 21 stuff to learn. Yeah, I know, because if you guys have studied like I said at least 2 hours every single day, you would not say that right now. I promise you.
It's still a lot. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But you didn't.
Still a lot.
But you didn't. No. If you do 2 hours every day, it's not doable, Austin, you tell me.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. But did you do it? Right. You didn't do it. So you should not have excuse saying it's too much.
I'm not saying it's too much. In general, it's a lot of information to take in and process and then spit back out.
No one gonna give you $100,000 job for nothing. You have to pay for it, right? Yeah. It just depends how hungry you are. If you're like starving, then you're probably gonna just learn overnight, just learn day and night to get the job. If you're not hungry enough, it's up to you. Like I said, when I was learning this thing before, I was learning day and night. I'm not joking. Should we ask any of my friends? Like, I was not hanging out. I was not going out. Even Friday, when they trying to call me, I always shut down my phone and sit down and study, because I needed the money at the moment. So looks like Harry doesn't need it. So he's not studying hard.